Most men are shaped by the voices around them, the cheers of coaches, the advice of fathers, the banter of friends. But some men are shaped by a different force: silence. The Sigma male's formidable strength, his quiet resilience, his unshakable independence. These weren't forged in the fires of battle or the spotlight of achievement. They were forged in the quiet, often lonely crucible of childhood. Today we're exploring how the silence of their early years didn't break them, but built them into the unyielding, self-contained men they are today. 1. The schoolyard exile, learning self-containment early. While other children formed packs on the playground, the young Sigma was often the observer on the periphery. He wasn't always actively excluded. Sometimes he simply didn't speak the same social language. This early exile wasn't a tragedy. It was his first masterclass in self-containment. In that silence, he learned a crucial lesson. His worth was not determined by the acceptance of the group. He had to find validation within his own mind, through his own interests: books, nature, building, thinking. This forced internalization of self-worth created a foundation that could never be shaken by external approval or rejection. The boy who learned to be his own company became the man who needs no audience to feel complete. 2. The unspoken family dynamic, becoming his own authority. Many Sigma males grew up in homes where emotional expression was limited, inconsistent, or overwhelming. Perhaps parents were distant, emotionally unavailable, or created an atmosphere where speaking one's truth felt unsafe. In this environment, the child couldn't rely on external guidance for emotional regulation or truth-seeking. He became his own anchor. He learned to process complex emotions internally, to question situations silently, and to develop his own moral compass through observation rather than instruction. This created a man who trusts his own judgment above all else. He doesn't look for leaders because he learned through necessity to lead himself. The silence at home didn't create an emotional void. It created an internal governance system. 3. The library as sanctuary, building an internal world. When the external world felt confusing, loud, or rejecting, the young Sigma often found refuge in silence, specifically the silent world of books, forests, or his own imagination. This wasn't escapism, it was nation-building. He was constructing a rich, complex internal world that no one could invade, criticize, or take away. This childhood practice of deep, solitary engagement became the bedrock of his adult character. He developed the ability for sustained focus, deep thought, and creative problem-solving. All skills honed in those long, quiet hours. While others learned to seek stimulation from others, he learned to generate it from within. The sanctuary of silence became his fortress of the mind. 4. The lesson of unmet expectations, developing radical self-reliance. Many Sigma children learned early that depending on others led to disappointment. Promises were broken, support was inconsistent, and emotional needs went unmet. This wasn't necessarily malice. Often, it was just the failing of overwhelmed adults. But the lesson was seared into his psyche. If you want something done right, if you want to understand something, if you need something, you must do it, learn it, or provide it for yourself. This forged a radical, unyielding self-reliance. He doesn't delegate essential tasks or outsource critical thinking. He doesn't wait for rescue or permission. The boy who had to solve his own problems became the man who sees every challenge as a puzzle for him to solve alone. His strength isn't stubbornness. It's the hard-earned knowledge that his own two hands and his own mind are the most reliable tools he will ever have. 5. The silence that taught listening and observation. In the absence of constant dialogue, the Sigma child became a master observer. He learned to read rooms, to detect micro-expressions, to hear the truth beneath words. This silent education in human psychology gave him a profound advantage. He understands people often better than they understand themselves. This observational skill became his social radar. As an adult, he can enter a room and instantly understand its dynamics, its hierarchies, its unspoken tensions. He doesn't participate in gossip because he already sees the truth. He doesn't need to ask many questions because he's already learned to find answers in silence. His childhood wasn't spent talking, it was spent learning, and that education never stopped. 6. The emotional alchemy of solitude, transforming pain into power. Childhood loneliness, when endured by a resilient spirit, performs a strange alchemy. It doesn't always create bitterness. Often, it forges a profound inner peace. The young Sigma had no choice but to make friends with his own thoughts, to find comfort in his own presence, to turn isolation into a workshop for self-discovery. This alchemical process created a man who is emotionally non-reactive. He doesn't fear being alone because he transformed that fear into familiarity, then into preference. He doesn't seek constant distraction because he found that the deepest answers come in the quietest moments. The pain of solitude was refined, through time and reflection, into the power of self-sufficiency. The development of a private value system. Without a loud chorus of peers or family dictating what was cool, right, or valuable, the Sigma child had to develop his own value system in silence. He judged actions by their inherent logic, not their social popularity. He developed interests based on genuine curiosity, not trends. He formed opinions through observation and reason, not peer pressure. This resulted in a man with an unshakable, internalized moral and intellectual framework. He cannot be swayed by mob mentality because he never learned to think with the mob. He cannot be bribed with social status because he built his self-esteem on a different currency: integrity, competence, and authenticity. His values are not for display. They are the silent operating system of his life. The Sigma male's strength is often misunderstood as coldness, his independence as arrogance, his silence as emptiness. But when you trace it back to its origins, you find a different story. The story of a child who, faced with silence, didn't wither, he took root. In the absence of constant external noise, he cultivated an internal landscape of immense richness and resilience. His unyielding strength is not a wall he built to keep people out. It's the foundation he built to stand upon when he had no ground given to him. His independence is not a rejection of others. It's the competence of someone who learned early on that he was responsible for himself. The childhood silence didn't create a broken man. It forged a complete one. It taught him that the most important conversations are the ones you have with yourself, that the strongest validation comes from within, and that true power is found not in dominating others, but in mastering the territory of your own soul. He is not the product of what was said to him, but of what he heard in the silence. And what he heard was the voice of his own potential, growing stronger with every quiet day. If you want to understand more about the lasting impact of these early experiences, I recommend watching our video, The Childhood Struggles of Every Sigma Male.